Well, hello everybody. I'm hoping you all are fine and taking the air of caution given the recent outbreak of the COVID-19 virus, which is kind of just changing everything. Uh, well, given the situation and the fact that the courses had to become online and everything, Professor Leo made the suggestion that we record some videos discussing different aspects and different topics, and each week you could watch those videos and uh, at your own pace and get more familiar with what we are talking about and what uh, we are trying to convey to you. Well, unfortunately, now that it's in this form, Q&A is not as easy as it should be, but still, you guys could easily find me via email and other uh, mediums and ask your questions if you had any, hopefully. Well, in this video, I am going to talk about a very, very important concept in economics as well as sociology and even political science, and that is inequality. What is inequality, and what is equality, and what does it mean? Uh, well, in some texts and some speeches by some very important people with fancy titles, inequality is a big evil, and equality is what we all need to have. You can especially see that in the speeches done by given by the leftists and the Marxists and the neo-Marxists. Why? Because they claim everybody should be equal at all times in all aspects. And you can also see that in the teachings of modernism, which believes that all human beings are born equal on all aspects, whether physiologically or otherwise. In other words, they believe that there is no physiological differences between the genders, so there shouldn't be any other form of inequality between genders. For starters, let's talk about inequality of income, which is the most common aspect of inequality discussed amongst scholars of social science. Inequality of income means you earn less than I do for the very same work. Oh, well, that's inequality of wages. Inequality of income is totally what you earn is less than I earn, or vice versa. And it uh, entails how much income is distributed amongst people. For example, you hear that the GDP of a country is $2,000 billion, and you also hear that its GDP per capita is 20,000 US dollars. And well, by definition, that means for example, let's say we are talking about the United States. So 20,000 US dollars means every American earns 20,000 US dollars. But do they? Do they really earn the same amount of money? Or no? One earns 2,000 and another earns 50,000. Which one is it? And if it is the latter, and there is a big gap between the income of the poorest and the income of the richest, is it good? Is it true? Or no? It's something unbearable. Well, there is a big debate in the amongst social scholars on the aspects of income inequality. Some, like Milton Friedman, believe that income inequality is just something natural, something that just happens, and we should accept it. If you are poor, it's your own fault. You could not or would not actually earn more money, and that's on you, not on your society, not on your government. And if you're rich, well, thumbs up. You're rich because you are skilled, because you work hard, and the poor does not. That's all there is to it. So they kind of believe that you deserve whatever you get in life, regardless of the conditions and situations in which you are living. And according to them, maybe even slavery is something natural. I mean, if somebody's born a slave, that's just what it is. He or she cannot actually complain about the conditions he or she is living in, because that's just life. But on the other hand, some people believe that it is not a natural thing, and inequality is actually a form of market failure. In other words, the market economy is failing to provide the means to distribute the result of production equally. And that is a big problem. Amongst those guys, we have in the past we had Minsky, we had John Maynard Keynes, and nowadays we have Amartya Sen, who are very important names in analysis of equality. And nowadays we have Atkinson and Piketty, who have written extensively on income inequality, its factors, and its reasons, as well as its results. Now, how do we even analyze income inequality? How do we even realize income inequality in the first place? Well, there was this guy named Corrado Gini. He was an Italian a statistician and a sociologist. He came up with a very interesting index, which is known now as the Gini coefficient, and it is based on the Lorenz curve. Well, Lorenz is another scholar that in 1905 created this chart which showed income distribution in a society. Now, the area under the Lorenz curve shows actually the Gini coefficient, which is an indicator of income equality or inequality. How is it estimated and what does it mean? Well, the Gini coefficient estimation is a kind of a complicated mathematical equation which you can easily search online and find it out if you like, but I'm not going to bore you with the equation and everything. But what I'm going to talk about is its value. Well, the Gini coefficient takes the value of 0 to 1, with 1 being most equal and 0 being least equal. In other words, if a Gini coefficient, I'm sorry, it's vice versa. The Gini coefficient, if it is 0, it means it's perfect equality. And if it is 1, it is perfect, it's complete inequality. In other words, the higher the Gini coefficient for a society, for a country, the more unequal income is being distributed in that society. And that's actually a very important concept, because many scholars believe that higher Gini coefficients are actually reasons for lower economic growth, for higher social volatility. In other words, in societies where income is not distributed fairly or equally, many people will start conducting riots, strikes, or they will lose any hope of a better future, so they would stop working at full capacity. so they would decrease their productivity. So that's income inequality. Another form of equality and inequality, which is quite important in social science and in everyday life, is natural equality or inequality. In other words, you not being equal because you are from a specific gender, you are male, female, or you are black, white, yellow. You do not reach a certain goal, a certain level of uh, promotion. Why? Because of something you just have, because you are born in a specific region in the world, or because you have a specific gender. That is also a very serious form of inequality, which actually exists extensively all around the world. In many countries, on average, women are earning less than men. Blacks are finding less job security than whites. Middle Easterns are not as opportunist as Westerners when they want to apply for a higher education in a good university around the globe. So if you look around, you see that there are a lot of different forms of inequality, which is based on something out of your control. I mean, you do not decide to be a woman, or black, or yellow, or Muslim, or Christian. Those are not your choices. You are faced with those conditions at birth, and nobody actually asks your opinion whether you like to be in that position or not. Yet, in society, you are being pushed towards different classifications because of those obligations at birth. And that's a very, very severe form of inequality, which many are actually fighting for. However, we must remember not to mistake inequality of outcome with inequality of opportunities. Amartya Sen believes that we should all be capable of making the same decision. We should all have the same decisions. Whether we make those decisions or not is up to us. And inequality and equality comes on the possibility of making those decisions, not on making the decisions on their own. In other words, a woman, whether a woman works as a police officer or as a switch cleaner or not, has nothing to do with inequality. The fact that that woman could make this choice, could actually go to a police academy, that is equality and inequality. Whether women are, right now, many women are not CEOs, chief executive officers at Fortune 400 companies. There are many women, many countries never had a women representative in their parliament or as their leader. But the question here we must ask is not that why they do not have a woman president. We should ask if they could have a woman president. That's the key issue here. That's what we should focus on. You must have the opportunity. In economics, we call it a level playing field, which means everybody should somehow have the possibilities the others have. And sometimes it means some people should work harder, but it what matters here is that it should not be impossible. So what I talked about here for the past 15 minutes was actually on different aspects and definitions of inequality. Something quite important which anybody should actually have some knowledge of. Now, I strongly urge you guys to find some free time and read the works of Amartya Sen, Thomas Piketty, and Atkinson. These guys actually give really interesting uh, and really fascinating accounts of inequality in income, opportunities, and whatnot. But in the end, the choice is yours. You should decide whether inequality is good or not, and if it is, in what aspect, and how you could actually achieve equality, and what will be the cost. That's actually the last thing I want to leave you guys with in this video. Policies are good because they are conducted to reach certain goals. But you should always bear in mind that these policies have costs, not just monetary costs, not just money that you pay as the government, but also social costs. For example, if you start a social revolution, uh, not a social revolution, if you enforce a policy into a society where it's not ready to accept that policy, well, you will have riots, you will have strikes, you will pay a lot of social cost. So in order to be careful, in order to have a successful policy in reaching equality, you must first make sure you know all the costs, monetary and otherwise. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the video.